Yes, we are going live now. Hello and welcome. Hey, happy Sunday night. Feeling all right? Welcome to another installment of Klooby Snacks or Klooby Snack Time here on the West Coast in Pacific time zone. It's 8 p.m. on a Sunday night. Charlie, I think it's 6 o'clock in the morning for you in South Africa, and wherever you may be watching around the world, we're happy that you're here. We're getting ready. This is the fourth edition, the fourth installment, the fourth week of the year. And by now, I think everybody knows that we have our Klooby Snacks arranged into 4 flavors, 4 baker's dozens, right? So right now, we are currently in the loving flavored section. And as a quick point of review, the first Klooby Snack that we tackled in loving flavored is when you have to keep it all together, love is the best adhesive. That's what we got the year started with. Then we went on to Klooby Snack number 2, which is heavy. And especially to have it so early on in the year that, right, we may come back and talk about this over and over again, but I will always love you more than I will ever miss you. We got to hear Abigail's thoughts on that. And then last week I was sick and we got through this one as quickly as possible. But we had I thought it was a really solid conversation. If it were up to me, it would be called profrontation, playing on pro versus con, when, con is a negative, but working things out as a positive, and so we don't want to mistake the pro of the con of the con of the pro. So that's a bit of a review. Charlie's joining us from South Africa. Abigail, let me introduce you real quick. What's happening? What kind of a week have you had? And what's on your mind as we head into Klooby Snack number 4 tonight?
I started my second term of my senior year this Tuesday. So I'm in the second half of my senior year. So that's fun. It's going by really, really fast. Out of all my years of high school, this one's going by the fastest, and I am very happy about that. So I'm just excited for the future. I'm excited to leave. I'm excited to be done.
I just feel like I'm going to prod you a little bit. You were mentioning over dinner that you feel really confident that you've already identified who your roommate's going to be in the fall.
Yes.
Hear about that?
Yes, I have. Yep. So it's all happening pretty fast, very fast, but also not fast enough. So.
All right. Hey, Jennifer Horspool's joining. Hey, Jennifer, how are you?
Fantastic. How about you?
We are rocking and rolling. If you are out there watching us on social media and you want to join the conversation live in studio, just as Charlie and Jennifer have, then right there, it is the link. It is the same convention that we're going to use every single week, tinyurl.com/Klooby Snack. And now the number 4, because this is the 4th week of the year, on we'll go. So after tonight, there's 48 more. And we are in loving flavored. Of course, I should mention, my name's Jeff Klubeck. I do some lecturing at San Diego State, and I've written some books, and I do soft skills for strong leaders. And I've spoken a little bit here and there and around the world. And I'm excited. I've got an opportunity to interview for the annual speaker for the Society of Human Resources Management Professionals, I think here in their San Diego chapter, but that's a conversation we have tomorrow morning. So I'm excited about what I'm doing. And we have a lot of people to thank. I mean, we're still in the first month. And earlier today, I'll let you know, Abigail, maybe, I don't know if you won't have any comments on this, but our first batch of authors' copies came in. And so Abigail and I sat around the table, and we literally sat and we were writing out books to people that had done advanced praise for us, or anybody that bought a copy and went on and did a verified Amazon purchase review. We'd said, hey, we'll gladly send a signed copy out to anybody that takes the time and effort to purchase and put a review online. So we are putting some books in the mail. Jennifer, you got to email us your mailing address and let us know how many copies you're looking for. Because you just never even bothered to be like, send me copies. You've just been so giving, but make sure you send us your mailing address and let us know how many copies that you're looking for. And then across the bottom of the screen here, you should see all these people that we have to thank, all the people that took time to write advanced praise. We had over 17 people make it into the book. And then there's a couple of other people that wrote some things that we didn't even have the time or the wherewithal or the space to include in the book. So it's an embarrassment of riches, and we're super, super grateful, not just for people that took time to do the review, but our editor, Patty McKenna, and our cover designer, Sean O'Connor, and the interior design, such a great job by Stella, my first ever retained graphic designer in the Philippines, and Mary Ann, who always makes the most delicious cookies in the world, who gave birth to Klooby Snacks. She actually allowed us to print the Klooby Snack recipe here in the book. And so we've just got so many people to thank, and that's scrolling across the screen. Yep. And having said all of that, what do you got, Abby?
What? That was it.
Oh,
I already shared my week.
Well, what was your experience like? I mean, your first one ever was a couple weeks ago, but What is it like signing books? What is that like for you?
It's all I think about is like the whole imposter syndrome thing. I'm just like, I don't know, everything with related to this book. It's like, it's a weird feeling where it's just like weird having all these people to sign these books for, and it's like weird to think. And when I was writing down all the addresses, it's all these different states, and it's like this is so much bigger than just like here, and it's a weird feeling because I was writing down all the addresses, and it was all these, every state was different, and I was just like, what? I don't know. It was weird. It was cool.
Yeah, and then the last thing, the last thing I'm going to ask you about, I wish I had it in my hands actually. I wish I had it in my hot little hands before I asked you about it. Hi, Sue, all the way from Australia. We're fully international now. South Africa, Australia are represented. We even have, the greater Los Angeles or Orange County area represented. Is that right, Jennifer? Okay.
I got the OC.
The OC, okay. So the other thing I want to ask you about, and I wish I had it in my hot little hands, but I posted about it. What was the experience like of one of your best friends since like preschool writing the article? And for those of you that don't know, there was a full, half-page article written in the Nexus newspaper, that Abigail's been a staff writer for 4 years. Like her and her best friend are the only two that have been 4-year staff writers. They've got the longest tenure. And so now in your senior year, and can you talk about what it was like to have her interview you and then write the article, and then you see the article in print and the whole thing? Like, what was that like?
It was cool being interviewed by somebody that knows me and knows my dad and knows us, and she's like heard Klooby Snack, so that was really cool. And when she said in our ideas like meeting that she wanted to write about me, I was like, what? And then everybody else in the class, okay, I'm glitching so bad because my computer is at low battery, but everybody in the class was asking about like the book throughout the week, and it was cool. And then the graphic, you don't have the paper with you?
I can go get it if you want to hold it down.
Well, no, so you can show the graphic is really, really, really
cool. I'll grab it. I'll stay. Yeah. I think I should be able to stay connected while I do this. You got to hold the conversation, Abby. I know you can do it.
And I was about to speak, and I got cut off a little bit. What I was going to say was our visuals editor had me send her like a PDF of the book, and then she like redrew the kitchen and then put a picture, like an actual picture of my dad and I on top of her drawing of the thing. It was so cool, and it was so weird because I've been writing for this newspaper, writing about other people's cool achievements and stuff, and then I was like, what? Like, I'm one of these cool people now? So that was really cool. It was weird.
Well, plus I remember, I remember when you saw, your brother AJ had a really big spread when he was a senior in his senior year because of the scholarship and everything, and I was like so happy for you. That like all the way around, like one of the things that's really cool about this book is like you're getting your due. Do you know what I'm saying? It's your time now. Super, super, super cool. All right, here we go. Check this out.
You need to unblur your background.
Okay, well, give me a second. How's that?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that is so cool.
It's big. It's huge.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's a little blurry.
Yeah.
But
well, let me see if I can unblur.
You can do it. There you go. But it was so cool. Like she redrew the background and then put like a cutout of us in it with our chef hats as it is in the thing. So that was really cool. And it's like on the second page.
Klubeck writes motivation. It's like how do you like being referred to as Klubeck?
No.
I don't. Never mind. All right, never mind. Strike that question. Let's move. All right. Well, that was fun. I wanted to ask you about this. I think it's just cool. And I know that there's somewhere in the book, I think in your dedications, Abigail, you talk about like, hey, I always lean on my boyfriend, but guess what? My dad can feed my vanity as well. And like, I never really thought of that until I saw you write about it in the book. And now I'm conscious of it. Like, hey, I'm proud of these moments that I get to participate in, or that you're having that I get to be like, hey, I'm part of helping you get your due, and it's just a cool project all the way around. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Let me say hello to everybody. Like, who wants to? Is anybody, before we read tonight's Klooby Snack and Abigail's response. Does anybody have any words or comments or questions? Welcome, everyone.
No, I love that you guys are doing this every week. I think it's fantastic. I think the whole book is fantastic. I think going through each one and, getting different perspectives on what it is. I think it's really cool what you guys are doing.
Oh,
thank you.
Well, I just got your name up in lights, Jennifer. Is that all you got?
All
right.
There I am. That's all I got. I know. Yeah.
Okay.
I got to take my office is a mess. I need to probably clean it up for these things. How do I blur? I need to blur.
Oh, listen, we are casual on a Sunday night. We're not trying to impress anybody. We're just trying to be jovial and loving and warm and thoughtful. And, we're in our comfy clothes on a Sunday evening, enjoying ourselves here. So here we go. I think there's a little bit of background noise right there that I'm gonna. Okay, cool. Wait, who's got? If it's you think you got the background noise, help us out with a mute. But I'm ready to go. Are you ready to go, Abby?
I'm born ready.
Born ready. Okay.
Got it ready.
So here we go. So we're gonna go ahead and get into Klooby Snack number 4. And I had already previewed the first 3, but I'll do it again. We're in loving flavored, right? So first, when you have to keep it all together, love is the best adhesive. We talked about that 3 weeks ago. Then 2 weeks ago, I will always love you more than I will ever miss you. Jennifer, it was interesting that you weren't with us that time because you've got a story. Maybe I'll come back afterwards and ask you to tell it. Because I remember it was real time when that one hit you years ago, right? And here we are. It's living and breathing inside of Klooby Snack. So these things take on different directions. That was a part of the conversation that we had. I had something completely different in my mind when I came up with it. And then I've seen it evolve over the years. The words are the same, but the interpretations, the stories, life keeps moving and enriching the value of the snack. It's pretty cool. That's a heavy one. And then, of course, last week I was sick, but we got through it. We had a very good conversation around, if it were up to me, it would be called profrontation. This is kind of my offshoot of the only way out is through. And there's a lot of people in my life like, oh, Jeff, you want to keep talking about it? Dead horse. Why do we have to keep talking about it? It's because it's not resolved yet, homie. Once we resolve it, once we tell the truth, maybe we can stop talking about it. But if you want to keep smoking and mirroring, I'm going to keep confronting because I think it's a positive at the end of the day, not a negative. So that brings us to Klooby Snack number 4. Drum roll, please. Here we go. And Abby, I've been looking forward to this one because you get another nod. Your genius that comes through in the snack again. You might want to, maybe you'll tell the story afterwards, but let's go ahead and go through it. Like, I'll just preview. As originally written, and Jennifer, I think you know this, as originally written, Abigail's just like, I don't know, Dad, this one's off. And it was one of those instances where Abigail actually rewrote and helped us choose a better word. Right. Go ahead. Abigail, you want to go?
I was right. I tell it in the thing. It was just another instance of me being right.
Here we go. All right, so here we go. So I'll go ahead and read my part, and then you take over, Abigail. Rock and roll. Klooby Snack number 4. I would rather fail in my commitment to loving than succeed in my commitment to suffering. Abby?
When my dad and I were first sorting through the master list of Klooby Snacks, he told me to pick random ones to read out loud. Scrolling through the list, I landed on this one, yet it instead stated, I would rather fail in my commitment to laughing than succeed in my commitment to suffering. I read it out loud and something felt off. Laughing felt out of place, and I told my dad that we should try to replace it with something more fitting. Over the phone, we threw out different suggestions such as happiness, smiling, and helping, yet they felt equally as wrong as the original wording. Finally, my dad suggested loving, and the light bulb went off for the both of us. People often use fear to prevent them from expressing their emotions. Fear of rejection, fear of being hurt, fear of vulnerability. Being driven by fear, letting that fear control you or censor your actions, is commitment to suffering. Rejection and vulnerability are seen as negative. Within those supposed negatives, however, lies positive. Rejection only happens when you're strong enough to put yourself out there. Vulnerability only happens when you're capable of showing your emotions. These failures are direct results of one's commitment to loving. My dad, like me, is very passionate about the things he's passionate about. When it comes to love, it's all or nothing between us. Being two people who have experienced failure due to our consistent commitment to loving, my dad and I knew that we chose the right wording for this Klooby Snack. Failure is not always something to fear, but residing in your own suffering is.
Wow. And I think I said wow the first time I read this, and now hearing it again, the wisdom continues to come through. Let me invite others here. whoever's online right now, who wants to take a first response or reaction to what Abigail's written in response to this snack or the story of how the snack evolved?
Well, it's brilliant when she says, like, if you're failing in your commitment to loving, you're still on the path to love, as opposed to having a commitment to suffering, which is just living in fear, a consistent living in fear. It's a brilliant. She's really good. She nails it.
Yeah. I mean, and then that living in fear, letting fear control. I don't even. Again, here's another thing where I don't know. I understood the difference. I just know some people are committed to suffering, and all they focus on is the problem, not the solution, or not the light at the end of the tunnel, or the way out, or they why is this happening to me instead of why this is happening for me. And some people just like it's emotional addiction or pattern or habit or etc. But I never cognized the amount of fear that is in place for those people that Abigail seemed to illuminate.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Sue, what do you got?
Yeah. A sentence that really stood out to me in this is rejection only happens when you're strong enough to put yourself out there. And I really liked that because it, to me, highlighted that probably a little bit of that fear as well, but it's also we tend to stay in that safe zone because we don't want to experience the rejection, but it's sabotaging who we are. So doing the work to be strong is worthwhile, and expect. And that you're doing that when you do experience some rejection. So don't be afraid of it. Again, coming back to that fear, don't be afraid of it. I really love that.
Yeah, I think it touches a lot on, you have fight or flight, friend or foe, flight or flight, or freeze, right? And freeze is what she's talking about when you're stuck in this commitment to suffering. And she talks about it in roundabout words, but it's exactly what she's saying.
And it's for me, it's even more special because when we go back to the anecdote, the story, right? Here's my thinking when I write this snack. If the original word is laughing, I'm focused on my joviality, how often I'm a walking, talking dad joke, and how I'm willing to be vulnerable by telling these silly, stupid jokes or whatever, right? But what's interesting is that it's still not enough, right? Because then when Abigail steps up and says, hang on, Dad, something's not right there. Yeah, you're kind of being vulnerable, but you're not really saying what really needs to be said. Why don't you not be afraid and say the real, if you're going to go on this one, go all the way, Dad. And I'm like, well, how about loving then? And she's like, yeah, now you're playing ball. Yeah. So Abigail, even if I am trying to model fearlessness and putting myself out there, Abigail, you can't bullshit Abigail.
Nope.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
she's wise beyond her years. I will give her that. Absolutely.
Yeah. Welcome
because
to my world.
You out on it. But you give her the safety zone, right? You give her the ability to be 100% Abby. She doesn't have that fear of what is he going to think or he's going to reject me, because even if you argue back and forth, you still love her and she knows it. And that is how you pull anybody out of a freeze, right? Like when you're stuck in safety zone or when you're stuck in your commitment to suffering, it's because you have a fear of being vulnerable and coming out. And I think that one of the things that's really important about your relationship is that you give her that ability to not be stuck there.
Well, that it's something before this project I couldn't have assumed and still have a hard time assuming or taking for granted for sure. But I hope it's the absolute truth that, golly, Abigail, no matter what we've been through or whatever, what we go through, nothing will break my love for you. Like zero, like no chance of that. Like there's a couple things we can bet on: gravity, the sunrise tomoror, and my love for you. We can. But
at the same time, she did that for you, right? Like she pulled you out of, what basically
it's an icon of it. Yeah,
you only hit to maybe first or second base, and she's like, there's a home run here. And she back at you made it safe for you to take it further.
Yeah, it's one of the lovely things about the project from Go is just surrendering to everything that's Abby's idea. Right. Rather than it's like I didn't have to fight too much because a better idea is a better idea. You can see it a mile away, right? But there is an instinct, and I'm used to being the author of everything. I'm used to, you know what I'm saying? And so there's an instinct, but it was just fun to be like, yeah, tell me more, or yeah, what do you think, or what do you think, but go ahead.
The first example of that was with the cover. When I've explained the story a few times, I don't know when I talked about this on here, but with the cover, when we first had our very first phone call, it was like the phone call that started this whole thing, and we were going back and forth like about our ideas for the book and like conceptually how it would work. And then I was like, I already have a book cover idea. And I was like, wait, let me tell you my cover idea. And he's like, oh, no, I have a cover idea. And I was like, no, I have a really good one. And he's like, no, let me tell you mine. I've been thinking about it for a while. Let me tell you mine. And he explains this idea. And I just sat there silently. Yeah.
I was like,
on your face first at all.
I was like, Abby, did I go through a dead spot? Are you still? No, I'm still here, Dad.
No, I was like,
are you ready for my idea now?
No, I was like, no. I was like, oh yeah, that was okay. And I'm like, well,
and you guys know it was literally just like taking like Scooby-Doo and taking Scooby-Doo's face out and putting my face in and just riding the coattails of all the Scooby-Doo, Klooby Snacks branding. And like tongue-in-cheeky, and I'd rather fail in my commitment to laughing. And then no, Dad. And
I was like, can I tell you my idea? And he's like, oh yeah. And then I told him my idea, and now here my idea is. So
well, it's better. That's all there's to it. And then the other thing too is like, you guys know, like I started crying when she told me her idea. I'm like, oh my God, she's going away to college, honoring Marianne with the recipe, and then the cookbook passing on the family recipe. Like, is it possible that my daughter's I get to pass something on to my daughter, and that's the way she's thinking already? Like, this is cool. Forget my idea. What idea? We're going with your idea, Abby. It was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
No-brainer. Charlie, do you have? I know that you were muted a little bit to get background noise out, but now I'm going to invite. Hey, do you have any comments, or you usually have a lot to say, and I want to hear from you.
Good morning. Being a fanatic for Klooby Snacks, and I'll always say this, it is what you read and when you read it. Mm-hmm. You can interpret it any way you want to at any given time. And as this book has depicted, is that Abby has taken her youthful, humorous, creative self and transformed everything that the Klooby Snacks were meant in their initial form. And just, I tell you, I sit and read through these Klooby Snacks. But wait a minute, Coach Jeff meant something different here. But then you start looking at it from what is it you are reading and what is going on at the time in your mind or in your life. And there's a bit of a story that might be a bit long, but Coach Jeff might know who I'm talking about. And what comes to my mind is you can then tweak it and says that vulnerability that you are showing is to stand up to blind loyalty, that somebody is maybe perceiving your honesty and your discipline for blind loyalty. And that comes in where the suggestions come in. where Abby has now transformed what the initial meaning was and then brought it forward as, and Coach Jeff had then given her the freedom and had just been obedient into letting it happen.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and it's been refreshing. It's like I mentioned, I remember the first time I felt like, oh my God, this book is healing me. Like there's emotion, but it's not just the healing and the emotions, but it's there's all kinds of enhancements, improvements. 1 + 1 = 3, but it's just like, to be a fan on the sidelines, Abigail, like I've been, at a field hockey game, and I could yell from the, hey, put the biscuit in the basket. And I'm a fanatic, but I'm on the outside looking in, cheering you from afar. Or even when you come home with an article, that's above the fold front page that the newspaper wins a prize for because of your edition, or there's these things that I've been able to, or in a performance.
My shows.
Yeah, your shows. I'm in the theater and there's a wall there between us, but like we're in this together. And it's not just me being a fan of yours, like just being awestruck, but you're making me better. I'm a better person. I'm a better dad. I'm a better writer. I'm a better author. I'm a better host. Like I'm just better. It's so, all praise, all thanks goes to you, Abby. How about that?
Like that.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at last call. Now, I don't feel like it's premature in any way, shape, or form. It could be a full 17-minute or 19-minute last call. But last call, like, does anybody else have any expressions or comments or questions? Is there anything else you guys want to know about what's going on in the world of Abby or anything like that before, we're getting number 5 next week. These weeks seem to go by fast and it's fun. How do you like the consistency of Sunday night creeping up on you every week, Abby?
I like it. I think I have, because it's like normally Sundays, it's just like, it's just my lazy day, but then I don't really have anything like motivating me on Sundays. But then for this, it's like, oh, I know, like at like 7:53, I gotta get over here and make sure my computer is charged. So it keeps me motivated for like the beginning half of the day to get all my stuff done. So then I'm ready. Then after this, all my stuff's done, and then I'm asleep early, rejuvenated
ready to Monday. Start a great week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else?
Abby, do you ever get feedback from any of your other friends, like asking them, like, what would you have written, or what do you think, or what? How do you like?
Yeah, I've shown. Well, one of my friends is written about in one of my friends from theater. So I showed her like a picture of like what I wrote about her, and then I didn't know she ended up buying a copy, and then all my other theater friends all bought their own copies, and they were all talking to me. But it was more not me being like, oh, what would you have written, but them being like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that, or like that's so cool, or like I don't know, because I know all of my friends, like I know them on like a friendship level, but then this is kind of like a different side of me, because it's all me, but I don't know, the way I'm speaking in this is different than the way I would talk to my friends, all stuff like that, and like different, very specific thoughts. So it's cool showing my showing my friends kind of like a different side of me outside of just theater or school or anything else. So it's just them being like, wow, that's actually really interesting, or like stuff like that, which is nice.
Yeah, I think one of the golden nuggets of the whole thing is that, your dad wrote them, you amplified them, elevated, in a lot of ways. He was thinking of things in one way, you're thinking of things in another way. And I think where the magic of the whole thing comes in is when you can start getting feedback from everybody else of, what does this Klooby Snack mean to you? So there's no judgment in any of it. And it's pulling, because you've already given different perspectives in there. So then it already is triggering other people's brains to say, well, then what is this Klooby Snack to you? Because each Klooby Snack can live on its own for different people for different reasons, based on like what Charlie was saying.
Yep.
What are you going through at the time? What I like, all of that, just like, like Jeff, you were talking about, I will always love you more than I will miss you. And that it hit me hard when you first said that, because it's what I needed to say to somebody. And I was having a really hard time letting go of someone I needed to let go of. And so when you said that, I mean, I was in immediate tears of just the pain of, it's a brilliant statement and I need to own that, but it's letting that go. And it was really, I've never forgotten that. Of all the things that you said to me, that's probably the most profound thing, where I repeated that to myself over and over again, and in multiple situations with multiple things that I, or, different relationships, that it's like, it doesn't fit with right now. So it's okay. I will always love you much more than I will miss you. And so
as a coach, you guys, and by the way, Abigail can make fun of me all day long for how much I talk, but the three of you have an experience of me as a listener, as like asking good questions and doing the listening and consuming and taking in and feeling what my coaching assignments, my coaching prospects, my coaching clients are trying to share with me. And it's always been something that I felt like, hey, I am gifted. I have been given a gift of being able to listen to 13 minutes straight of heavy stuff and come up with one sentence that shows somebody exactly what they need to do. And like, so it's a lonely feeling to be able to do that. And it's a gifted feeling, but it's a lonely feeling. And then I'd share these things, which they've had their power and their magic and their healing and their help for others, share with Abigail, and I get taken down to, ground zero again and built back up anew, totally different. And it's just fascinating. It's just amazing. I'm glad that you shared that, Jennifer. And those are things that are important for me that Abby hears, right? And as she comes on Sunday night and she interacts with you guys, the cosmopolitan nature, the adult nature, Abigail holds her own in these conversations more than holds her own in these conversations, as much of a contributor as any. And like, we have all this wisdom and we have the benefit of our years. And here's this girl, right? It's amazing. And then, Abigail, if you may allow me to ask you, I love what Jennifer asked about, what do your friends think of this? Right. And she's coming from the perspective of everybody can have their own interpretation. Like, hey, yeah, this is what I wrote. I'm not asking necessarily what you think of what I wrote, but what would you write? What does this mean for you? And I think that there's a whole world to explore there, related, but slightly different, that I want to ask you about, Abby, is a comment that you made that touched me, part of my healing stuff, right? Where you said, like, one of your friends, maybe you could pick it up and run from here, but like, one of your friends was like, well, at least your dad wants to hang out with you.
right.
Do you remember? Or at least can you talk
Yeah.
about that, Abby? Can you take it away and tell that one?
I have a friend who, ever since he met my dad, he's been fascinated by like Klooby Snacks. And every time I'm talking to him, he's like, I need more Klooby Snacks. He's like, where's Jeffrey? Like, I need Klooby Snacks. And he loves this whole Klooby Snack thing. So the first time I hung out with him after the book was published, my dad, that was the first copy that we signed ever for him. And I brought it to him, and we were talking about kind of like the whole process of writing the book, because he since like 2022, 23, like he's just been a fan of Klooby Snacks. We talked about kind of like the whole process of writing it and all this stuff. And then I wasn't necessarily complaining, but I was like, yeah, it's been like
I know it wasn't necessarily complaining.
No, I wasn't. This was right after we had published, and we were done. And I was like, oh, like, it's just like, I'm happy like the process is over, like the writing process. It was stressful for a little bit there. It was a little stressful. And I was like, oh yeah, it's all done. Like, we're published, it's all done. And then I don't remember what exactly prompted him to say it, but we were talking about how the project was done, and I gave him the book, and he's like, was telling me about how he got this present for his dad, and it was this book, and it was like for your parent to fill in, and it was like questions and prompts for your parent to write about their life experiences. And it was kind of like a journal, and he gave it to one of his parents, and he's like, to write in. So he's like, I want a book of your knowledge and experiences. Like, I want to get to know you through your experiences. And his dad didn't want to do it. And he was like, he told me about that. And he's like, yeah, so at least yours wants to hang out with you and like wants to have this with you. And he's like, it's so cool. Like, I wanted a book of my dad's experiences and I couldn't get that, but you have a book with your dad. And like, it was cool. I hadn't thought about it like that. And I was like, wow, like, yeah.
A next challenge for you, Abby, would be because you can take this now and there's more greatness in getting other people to get to their own answers. Like you've shared yours, right? And yours is going to change when you go to college. You're going to see each one of these in a different way, and you can have updated editions. You know, you can continue new Klooby Snacks, like
new and improved.
There's all kinds. Yes. But the more like what your dad does, the more you get other people to tell you what theirs are, the more they're going to see your genius, even though you're not talking. You're getting them to talk based on what you were already vulnerable. It's in writing. It's in black and white. It's printed up. Right. And your dad got you to that stage, and you elevated what he had already done, and you gave him courage to be more vulnerable than he would have. And now if you bring that same talent and you share that with each of your friends and make it about them, they're going to love you that much more. They're going to feel now part of it, now that Klooby Snacks is part of them too. And that's where you as an author can really start taking off.
I can actually see, by the way, I'm bringing on an intern. Abigail, you're going to love this girl. She was a student of mine last semester, and she'd asked me to write a letter of recommendation for her for a social media-based internship on campus at San Diego State. So I knew she was interested in social media, and she's looking for internship experiences. I waited until the semester was over. Grades are submitted, no conflict of interest. And then I reached out to her. And she actually she wrote a quote of advanced praise in Klooby Snacks that made it into the book. Her name's Melody, so I'm giving a shout out to Melody. She's going to come on board and do an internship, and she's going to be assigned Klooby Snacks. And so like we're going to like turn it into like a blog. We're going to create a blog, a Klooby Snack blog. So they're going to be reprinted in blog form, pieced out. And now they're electronic, and so the world can comment. And it's like kloobysnacks.com or whatever, but now we can receive people's responses, like to what Jennifer's saying. So we can we'll be able to direct people to go to the website and be able to what's your reaction, or what are some of your favorite quotes, or, submit your ideas for Klooby Snacks, or, like who knows where it's going to go. But like, I love what Jennifer is saying. And thank you so much, Jennifer, because that I agree with her 100%. The challenge, it's a healthy challenge for you at this, especially at this stage of your life, where you deserve so much accolade, you deserve so much recognition, you deserve so much praise for your genius. But there's a point at which your real genius is going to reside in your ability to bring it out of others. Because yours is you're not going to have to work so hard at your own. It's on display. I love what Jennifer's saying. I'm hoping it lands for you.
It did.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Here we are, last call. Sue or Charlie, anything else?
I was just going to add, and what a gift that will be to Abby, your peers, to others that come along. Yeah, just amazing. So you go, girl.
All right. Well, anybody else? Last call. Comments, questions?
Charlie's got something to say.
What do you got, Charlie?
The pebble has the same properties as the mountain.
I'm just pointing to my favorite Klooby Snack. Just wraps it with
the pebble. Yeah, right. The pebble has the same properties as the mountain from which it came rolling. That's right. It's a good one.
That's so apropos right now, Charlie. You get a high five, man.
Feels like more praise for. Well, first of all, it's more praise for you, Abigail. But let's not forget something real quick. Shout out to Marianne. Shout out to your mom, my wife. Right? She is
my mom.
She doesn't need limelight. She doesn't need forefront. She doesn't need the lights and the camera and the action. But boy, none of this happens without her. All of it happens for her. And I raised my can of carbonated water to Marianne.
I have nothing.
But the other thing too, no, seriously, on Sunday night, back to how you like the Sunday night things. She's even like the subtleties, like the way that she supported us all the way through, from breaking out her camera and taking pictures of us in that little mock photo shoot that we did, to actually allowing the recipe to get put in the book, to even on Sunday night, she knows that we're coming on at 8, so she times it. And she made sure that we have the sit-down dinner as a family, and that we're all set and everything's done in time for us to get back up here and do our thing. So, you guys, none of this happens without Marianne. She deserves all the praise in the world.
Yes,
so
she does.
There we go.
I still have to make her cookies. I love the recipe. And I can't wait.
Oh
The
yeah,
breads
They're
are
so
always- I'm
good.
so
they're
tired.
so good. Like lightly brown, so they're a little gooey on the inside.
the-
Oh my
Of
god.
course.
What does she put the butter? It's the butter. Is it
It's-
butterscotch?
There's
That's what whatever
there's
that
toffee
stuff
bit.
is.
It's the toffee bits is the secret
There's Heath
ingredient.
bar
Hey,
and the butterscotch and the. it's
oh
so
yeah.
good. So
Yeah,
good.
yeah. The recipe is printed anyway. Yeah, so hopefully she hears us in the other room. Hopefully she's smiling and warm with our
listens.
praise. Yeah, absolutely. She's got mom ears. Of course she listens. All right. So thank you guys, Sue and Charlie and Jennifer and Abigail. Thank you. 4
Of
down,
course.
48 to go. We are cruising our way through the loving flavored Baker's Dozen. And I can't
Yep.
wait to see everybody next week for Klooby Snack number 5.
Yep.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Farewell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.